Hey guys, what's up? It's Wolf Airsoft Gaming, and today I'm going to be doing an unboxing review of the limited edition G28. So to start off this unboxing, I'm not going to go in too many details about the specs, but to start off, it is limited edition. There's 250 of these pieces made worldwide, so there's only 250 in the existence, and that's all there'll ever be. Included are a bunch of accessories. I'll go into that in detail later, as well as a hard case. So you get a bunch of stuff with limited edition, and it's actually worth the price from the standard edition to the limited edition. If you watched my standard edition unboxing, in the end I did say that if I were to do it again I'd get the limited edition, and I finally got that. So we're going into details about that. One thing about the price, this is one of the hardest, if not the hardest airsoft gun to sell. At the asking price of Elite Force, it's ridiculously hard to sell, and that's why they're still in stock at major retailers like Evike and Airsoft GI. So with all that being said, let's get into the unboxing. Okay, so right there you've got the HK limited edition kit. It's got the sticker on there by Umarex, Elite Force, VFC, I don't know, whatever you want to call. Umarex gets the license that gives it to Elite Force, that gives it to VFC to manufacture. I believe that's correct. I don't know. Nobody really cares. So, you can tell right there, it's got the G28 kit, of course. It doesn't tell you what's inside, just that it's a limited edition, and that it's 6mm BBs, and that it's shooting 400 and what is that, 35? 435 feet per second. So we'll open the hard case up and see what's inside. Alright, so straight out of the box you can see the G28 limited edition in all of its glory. Included here, I'll start off with the most boring stuff first. We've got this nice paperwork. Awesome stuff. Cool. Nobody cares. Next on the list of stuff that isn't the gun, we've got this Harris style bipod with a quick detach clamp right here. So that's pretty cool, and I believe the legs are adjustable and they come out quite a bit. So this is a really high quality bipod, probably somewhere around $50 to $60 separately. Next up included is the T1 sunshade mount. This comes with mounting screws as well as some hex keys to be able to do that. And these are I think these are the adapters to use a 30mm scope compared to a 50mm, which is what the scope rings are designed for, and they are huge. I'll get back into that later. So it's nice that they included that. Next up, you've got the 417 style magazine. These have horrible feeding problems, some of the worst. I think this is second. The first one is the Bison with the worst mag design and feeding problems, and this is the second. So expect to be doing a lot of repairs on that, especially since I'm going to be feeding high gram BBs. I mean, I planned 32, I also going to try 43, but both of those are still going to have problems feeding. And these in reality are about 50 round magazines, not the advertised 120 or whatever they advertise it as. And the last piece, the G28 itself. Absolutely beautiful rifle. I mean, this thing, I know I've had the standard edition before, but this limited edition really just takes the cake. It is pretty heavy, probably about 9 pounds or so. I would imagine that with everything else on. So now that the unboxing's done and I've gone through everything, I'm going to be putting the included attachments on and going over everything in detail on the gun wall. Okay, so this is the G28 limited edition with all of the attachments on. As you can see, it's a really impressive rifle with a lot of attachments that come out of the box. You've got the bipod, the Harris style bipod, which is actually very, very high quality. You've got your foregrip there, rail covers, sling mount, 50mm custom G28 mounting rings, as well as the T1 sunshade, and I think that does it. Of course you have the magazine, but you know, whatever, that's not limited edition. So it's a very impressive rifle. The only thing I don't like is the orange tip, which I'll be doing a paint job on that soon so that it stays black, because it's a reflective in a very glossy color, so I'm going to have to sand it down very well and apply primer and whatnot to make it look more authentic, as it should be, because this is a collector's piece. So we'll go over the features of this rifle from the back to the front. So starting with the stock here, there's a lot of features on this, including a CNC machined wheel for the retractable, or not retractable, but expandable stock, butt pad I meant. And if you keep on turning this, it ever so slightly adjusts and pulls this out. You can tell that there's a sling mount right here and this non-movable cheek rest, and what I mean by that is no matter where the position on the stock is, which I believe is 1 through 6, it'll always stay in that position, which is where your cheek should be. So that's really cool that they included that. Additionally, you have these 4 lines right here. That is for the adjustable cheek riser. So you can undo these 2, and there's 2 more on the other side, and lift it up to whatever height that you prefer. Moving on over to the main receivers, we'll see a few cool features here, including the semi-only feature. That means that this gun cannot shoot fully auto stock. If you remove this and remove a sear, it's able to, but for milsim events and whatnot that determine that you have to have a semi-only rifle for a DMR, this is really cool to have out of the box, and as you can tell, you can't turn it even if you wanted to the full auto position without removing that sear. You've got trademarks here, EF15 and P0019. This stands for Elite Force, made in 2015, product number 19 out of 250. Moving on forward, you have your bolt catch right here. That's for the other side, and we'll get into that in just a second. Over on here you have HK trademarks, the rifle, which is G28, and the true caliber, which is 7.62 by 51mm. You have an HK trademark up here, as well as your beautiful HK magazine with mock bullets and spring. These are prone to a lot of feeding problems, so I would be wary of that. The real capacity of the advertised 120 rounds is somewhere around 50 rounds, and with heavier gram BBs, you will have to do modification in order to get them to feed. And by heavyweight, I mean anything above 0.25 gram BBs. Up on the top, you've got these huge 50mm scope rings. This is integrated into one unit right here, and this comes attached to the rifle, so you don't have to worry about spacing that correctly. It does have the Allen keys for your 8 hex keys up there, or hex screws, as well as 2 rail system platforms. One is for the T1, and the other one, I'm not sure what it's for, but it's there, so you can put the T1 either further away or closer to you. I have it how all G28s have the T1 sunshade, and that's in the rear position right here. Of course, your rear iron sight, which is adjustable for, I think it's only adjustable for windage. I'm not sure about elevation, but I'm sure it is because the front sight is not. Moving forward to the rail system here, you can tell that we have a sling mount, which is awesome. This is movable to anywhere on the RIS system. The HK licensed, very nice. These remind me of the Tango Down series rail covers, and those are on both sides, and the other side is custom fit for the 2 hex bolts that are holding the rail system onto the nut, and we'll talk about that later when we flip the gun over. Moving down, we have this HK licensed very nice foregrip. Now this isn't like other cheap Chinese version, because I know that there is similar ones that look identical to this. These have storage on the inside, I'm sure. The design is also very different, and it's very, very sturdy. So overall, you get some high quality attachments here. Nothing here is lacking. And one of the most impressive features goes to the bipod. This is adjustable for a lot of different lengths. We've got, once you release this, you'll see these notches, and this is fully extended. I believe this is probably around 10 inches or so. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you ultimately have 5 ultimate positions. 1 is closed, and then 4 different for open. When you close that back up, it's able to freely slide back in, and then you just press it in like this, and it clicks into place. So overall, a very, very nice bipod. And it's really surprising. There were a lot of different adjustments on this, and the quick detach feature right here is really cool to have for the G28, and it doesn't move at all. A lot of them have them because they're high tension springs and there's a lot of movement, but that holds it sturdy, very nice, and that was just with hand tightening. Up here you have your Mach gas adjuster. This is if you equipped a suppressor or whatnot, you can increase or reduce the gas volume for your bolt, or your bolt cycling and all that other stuff. That's just on the real steel. And of course the G28 flash hider, which you can't buy an aftermarket one, so if you do want to paint it black for more realism or whatever, of course abide by your state and local laws, you can do that, but you'll have to use the stock flash hider. The one more thing to note on the rail system is the front sight, which flips up. This is included in all editions, and it is not adjustable whatsoever, and it actually is a bit flimsy, but it is a front sight and it works. So now going from the rear to the front on this side, you have your classic Yomerex warning here, as well as the fire symbols for fire and safe, which is cool they included that on this side. Additionally, on the lower receiver, you have your Heckler and Koch trademarks by Yomerex, and the rest of the licensing is there as well. You've got your HK battle grip right here, standard on all HK guns like the 417, 416, G28, etc. Moving up to the upper receiver, we've got a lot of German here, round log, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. And you can tell on the scope rings right here, you've got 25 MOA and direction of fire, and it's pointing this way, so that you can't confuse where the scope mounts are supposed to be mounted, and that's with the non-adjustable towards this side. As you can see, the mounting is on the other side. You've got your right and left. This is for windage. Again, I'm not sure about elevation, but that's definitely windage for that rear sight. And we'll get into the dust cover. So when we pull the charging handle back, we pull it all the way back. Sorry, I'm doing this with one hand, it's kind of hard. And it locks back, and we're gonna go ahead and put this forward. And this is because if you don't, the Mach bolt is not going to go all the way back. It stops at about right there, and then you have to push it forward, which is something I didn't know. You actually had to put this inward. So you can see the 417 hop up right here, and I'm pretty sure that's M4 compatible. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to try to put a Pro in this, which I might have to modify slightly. But so that's there. You can see your gearbox here, which is upgraded. It's got a, I think it's 7 metal tooth piston, upgraded tappet plate, special high torque motor with some vents down here, and with a purple shaft, as well as a few other neat upgrades inside there. So it's going to be shooting a bit hotter at 435, which with 0.32 gram BBs is around 360, I think, and 270 with 0.43 gram BBs. So overall, nice that they included an upgraded gearbox. And I don't know what this piece is here. I'm not sure if my limited edition had it, which I'm sure it did, but I've just forgotten. But yeah, it's almost like they pushed the entire assembly backwards, which leads me to believe if you take this piece out, perhaps you could fit a version 2.0 or not the 2.2, a 2.5 in here, which is the SR75 elongated gearbox. I don't know, that's something that I'll have to look into, but it's interesting that they have a spacer right there, because the hop-up unit should be sitting right there. So, food for thought, I thought I'd include that. And we'll hit the bolt release on the other side, and as you can see with this version, all the way forward. It doesn't stop right here, and that's because you have to push this all the way in. If you don't, and you just cock it back like that and leave the charging handle extended and hit the bolt catch, it stops right there. And I've had it stop further, and then you just kind of have to slide it back up there. So, a bit inconvenient, so just put the charging handle forward before you do that. Moving on up, there's nothing special really to see except for these cutout holes on this H&K licensed rail cover. And everything else is the same on the upper receiver. So that about does it for this unboxing and review of the Elite Force G28 Limited Edition. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. This is for a T1 optic on top of the railed scope mounts that are 50 millimeters. Modify it to be able to fit this. Included with the sunshade itself is the hex keys and screws. I'm assuming that's to mount the T1 unit to that. And god damn it, Kita,